I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Stephanie.
And we're Sisters of the South, coming to you guys as Southern Sisters of Spirits. Hoping you're having an awesome Halloween month and staying safe out there. Please like and share our content if you like it enough to share it, and subscribe for more true crime content every week. And with that being said, we do just want to promote our friends over at SoFly. SoFly! And we're going to play a little video for you now.
Here we go.
This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made.
All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed that video. Please go check them out. They're awesome.
Yeah, they're a small company here in the Houston area, family owned. They do embroidery and laser work, and they do beautiful work. They have different types of colors. You can put it on beanies, hoodies, t-shirts, aprons, whatever you want, and it will take a normal occasion and make it an extremely special occasion. So reach out to them, see what they can do for you.
And guys, Christmas is coming up, and everyone wants something new and beautiful for Christmas, so check them out.
Yeah, and embroidered.
That's right.
That's right.
All right, guys, so let's get on with the story.
Yeah, we're going to start out today with a story that happened here in Houston, Texas back in 1974. And it's pretty notorious here. So let's get into the story.
Actually, I'm going to say this. Our family, not me, her and my parents moved to Houston from Mississippi around this time. And we were never allowed to go trick-or-treating because of this story.
Exactly right. Our mother, I guess she knew about the story. And I kind of wonder why Dad moved us out here knowing this, because Mom was paranoid anyway with her children. But yeah, I remember going trick-or-treating one time, and I was about 4 or 5, and that was it. And I think we went to 2 houses.
Yeah, I never got to go trick-or-treating. I could have a small party or watch everyone else trick-or-treat, but I didn't get to do it. But that's okay. I do it with my children now.
The fall festival was what
Oh, yeah, we did have a fall festival.
Yeah, that was it.
When I was older.
Yeah. So yeah, with that being said, this story that we're going to bring to you today impacted our lives as young children, and I'm sure so many others. Not just in Houston, but probably all over the United States. So on a rainy Halloween night in 1974, the children of Deer Park, Texas were out knocking on doors. Ronald Clark O'Brien, an optician, which is a person certified or qualified to make and supply eyeglasses and contact lenses for correction of vision, was out too, watching over his kids, 8-year-old Timothy and 5-year-old Elizabeth, as they trick-or-treated in a suburban neighborhood near their home. Joining them was O'Brien's neighbor, Jim Bates, and his young son. One of the houses the group approached had all its lights switched off, but the kids banged on the door anyway, because, you know, they got to get some candy. And we all know if the lights are off, they're not coming to the door. But the kids were excited, so they knocked anyway, with the possibility of the vague promise of candy. It was just too enticing. They had to try it. But there was no answer. Either the occupants were hiding or no one was home. Growing impatient, the kids ran off to find another house, and Jim followed. Ronald was left alone. Catching up with the others a short while later, Ronald had great news. He produced a handful of 21-inch pixie sticks, which is tubes of powdered sour candy.
And they're awesome.
And they are great. Turned out someone had been in the dark house all along. The sweets were handed out, one to each of the children there, one for Jim's other child, and another to a 10-year-old boy, Ronald, which had been recognized from the church as the group walked home. Before bed, Timothy O'Brien was allowed one treat from the evening's haul and picked his pixie stick tube because who can pass up a pixie stick?
Oh, yeah, I can't to this day.
Oh, yeah, they are so good. But the powdered sugar was stuck in the straw. And it wasn't until his dad helped him to dislodge it that he would take his first mouthful. It tasted bitter, and he complained, so Ronald grabbed him a glass of Kool-Aid to wash the taste away. Less than an hour later, Timothy was dead. Now, first of all, if it, you think about the powdered, because they're long sticks and it's a paper straw. And
No, the big ones I think are in plastic.
I don't know in the 70s
Oh,
if
that's
they were in
true.
plastic.
Because I know the smaller ones are. So if you accidentally touch your tongue on them, you just have to tear it off and keep going.
I think in the 70s it was all paper.
Okay.
I don't think they had gotten fancy yet. And so if it's stuck down in there, my first thought as a parent would be it's stale.
It's wet.
It's been wet. I don't know if at that point, because this is really kind of a, I don't think anyone had been poisoned at this point, but me, as being paranoid as I can be sometimes, I would probably think maybe someone did something, but I would probably do
or
the
at
latter.
least just think it's gross. Like, okay, can we go do something different?
Yeah.
This one's gross. Let's put it in the trash.
Let's
But
throw that away. And I'm definitely not giving you Kool-Aid to wash it down. This is such a 70s thing, y'all. Such a 70s thing. I'm getting you some
80s
water.
too.
Okay. Drink some water, cleanse the palate. Let's start over. But no, he goes and gets him the sugary Kool-Aid drink to
I don't
wash
even think
it
my
down.
kids have ever had Kool-Aid.
I'm not going to lie. Kool-Aid was good back in the day.
Oh,
especially
yeah.
the
I've always
popsicles.
had it.
Yeah, that you made them from. But hey, I don't know. Maybe times have changed, but when I was going over this case and Dad gave him a glass of Kool-Aid, I'm just like, what? Okay.
Maybe to kill the taste. Because Kool-Aid will kill the taste.
That very well could take the bitterness.
Yeah.
But this guy knew what he was doing.
Well, of course.
Mhm. It happened to be a coincidence that Mike Hinton was working the police intake that night. He got a call from Pasadena Police Department, and they told him that an 8-year-old boy had died. The boy was rushed to the hospital, but he had already passed. Wanting to get his investigation underway, Hinton called Dr. Joseph Hemenzik, chief medical examiner of nearby Harris County. Hinton told him the situation, and he asked what the young boy's breath smelled like. A call to the morgue revealed that there was a scent of almonds coming from the boy's mouth. The doctor immediately said it's cyanide.
I wonder why that was the first thought.
I don't know.
That's not like a common thing, right?
Mm-mm.
Especially back then.
No. Now, I think this is 74, and the Tylenol scare didn't happen till the 80s. So
Right.
it wouldn't even be that. So I don't know.
Exactly.
Maybe he thought because it's Halloween, there's all this candy. Maybe in the back of his mind, he always thought this could be a possibility.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. An autopsy proved the medical examiner's hunch. A pathologist said Timothy had consumed enough cyanide to kill 2 people. Tests later found that the top 2 inches of the pixie stick had been packed with the poison, which is why it tasted bitter. Number one, why it was so hard to get out. And I'm sure it was a liquid form. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and all it does is just clump the sugar.
Right. And I mean, I don't know what cyanide tastes like. I have no clue, but that's probably why he got that bitter flavor when
sure.
he put it in his mouth. Police officers managed to recover the remaining sweets from the other children before any of them had a chance to dig in, and noted that whoever was responsible had used staples to seal the pixie stick after tampering with them. This staple is what saved one of the boys' lives. He was unable to get the pixie stick open due to it being there. He wasn't strong enough to open it.
Okay, hold on. So then was it plastic? Because how do you you'd be able to tear that paper?
I remember, and I know these are the bigger pixie sticks, but pixie sticks were always paper when I was younger.
Maybe that's why. I don't know. I'm just saying, why couldn't he open it But who thinks about stapling it? I'm going to poison people and
I'm
staple
going
it
to
back
make it
together?
obvious. I would never give my kid anything that was stapled together.
Absolutely not.
That's crazy. But
But
yeah, I mean,
their
it could
parents
have
may
been.
not have even looked, because who looked at the candy until all this
Well,
happened?
that's true. That's true.
The kid just pulled it out and said, "Oh, I can't get it open,
Yeah.
so I won't eat it."
With paper, I mean, it makes sense that you could just roll it down. And if it had been plastic, that would make
Or
sense
tear
why
it,
he
because
would have.
pixie sticks, you
Yeah,
can kind of
you
tear it.
always tore them. But with plastic, you would need to staple it to fasten it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that I wish I knew that answer. I don't. Maybe we can look that up eventually and see. But I
I
don't
don't think it's that
remember.
important. It's just what's in my head right now. I'm
Well,
trying
I
to
will say
imagine it.
this. We went very little. Well, like I said, one time for me trick or treating, I ate pixie sticks, but we never had the big ones. I always
Mm.
had the little bitty ones, so I don't know what the big pixie sticks would have been made of. So, but probably plastic at this point, with the staple being there.
Mm-hmm.
The police took Ronald back to the neighborhood the group had been trick or treating in so he could direct them to the house where he had picked up the pixie sticks. But he was stumped. He just couldn't find the house, and he said he had never seen the face of the person responsible. They had just emerged from a doorway and handed him candy. Investigators started to become suspicious.
Even if that had happened, I'm not taking candy from a dude opening the door in the dark.
Well, don't you think that's weird? And why are you staying behind? Obviously, they're not handing out candy. So wouldn't you just move on with the group? But then you just hang out, and all of a sudden, this door opens and a hand reaches out and gives you pixie sticks.
A bouquet of pixie sticks.
And you're going to say, "Oh, thanks."
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I stuck around.
Yeah, it's so strange.
Got me a creepy treasure.
I would instantly.
All
First
of
of all, it's just creepy. I wouldn't be hanging around a dark house. We would be moving on together. But this is why the police become suspicious. A few days went by and the investigators became incredibly frustrated, so they took O'Brien out again and were pretty firm with him at this point. The tactic worked. Donald's memory was jogged. I mean, heck, if someone's on your ass to give them answers, it's going to work every time,
oh my
right?
gosh, it's a miracle. All of a sudden I can remember.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he pointed towards the house at this point. Oh yeah, all that brain fog, it became clear. Now, I'm going to give him a little credit, or maybe a little grace. His son just died. So maybe he was devastated at this point and he
Well,
just
yeah, I
couldn't
can see
remember the
that.
night. Right. Maybe, I'll extend him some
You've got a
grace
lot
for
on
now.
your mind. You're devastated. Like, I think it was this house, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah. I'll extend him a little grace for now. That doesn't mean that I will towards the end of the story, but maybe he had a lot on his mind. Maybe he was grieving and he just couldn't remember. The man who lived there wasn't home, so the officers went to his place of work, Houston William Hobby P. Airport, and arrested him in front of his colleagues. The mystery was over. The case was closed. They arrested the guy that lived at the dark
That
house.
creepy ass dude handing out candy in the dark.
In the dark, just opening up the door and here's your candy.
Could be why it was so stale and hard, because he just found some and threw it out the door.
Or he's in the dark, opening up candy and placing cyanide in it. I mean,
You think you'd need a light for that, but maybe not.
You would think. So only at this point, the problem with them arresting him was the man had an alibi. It turned out he was working that night. His wife and daughter were home and had turned out the lights early as they had run out of candy. Colleagues and timesheets confirmed the man's story. This only magnified the investigators' suspicion. The investigators had been told that Ronald had written a song about Jesus and Timothy joining the Lord in heaven, and had grown agitated when his grieving family wouldn't stay up late to watch a recording of the performance being broadcasted on television. Okay. I mean, he wants to be the center of attention at this point, is what it looks like. I mean, the last thing that would be on my mind is putting a song out on TV. after I've lost my child. That's just awkward. That's just awkward. And I just wonder,
I don't
'cause,
even know what to say.
I mean, I just wonder how that made his family feel. Did it make them think something's wrong here, or maybe he's losing his mind because his son passed?
Or maybe he was that kind of person to begin with.
Yeah, he might have been like that all along, and they were just
Like,
annoyed.
listen to my beautiful voice.
This beautiful song I wrote. I mean, did he think he was going to get famous off the song? I mean, who knows? But yeah, it's possible that his family weren't surprised over his actions and they were just annoyed, on top of grieving over Timothy. And he's over here wanting to be the center of attention. So I'm sure that that probably got on a lot of people's nerves. But it definitely got on Ronald's nerves because they didn't want to hear it. And that pissed him off.
They're
So soon
selfish
after,
people.
so selfish. So soon after, detectives had discovered that Ronald had recently taken out life insurance policies on both of his children. $10,000 per child in January of that year, and then a further $20,000 on each a month before Halloween. Investigators already knew Ronald owed debts of over $100,000. So when they found out he'd called his insurers to ask about the payout at 9 a.m. the morning after Timothy's death, it was clear the case against him was beginning to come together.
So his brain was foggy about which house the candy came from, but not so foggy he's going to call the insurance company, which should have been the last thing on his mind.
Oh yeah, he remembers all them life insurance policies.
If my child is poisoned, I am definitely going to try to remember the house before the insurance.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you want to get these people off the street that just killed your son.
Yeah.
Right? That would be my main focus as well. Until they're in jail, I don't care about nothing else in life.
No.
So yeah, and the sad part is Timothy's mother is going through her grieving while
Her personal hell.
Yeah, personal hell while her crazy ass husband is acting like a damn fool on TV around other people. He's just acting like a damn fool. So not only is she grieving her son, but having to deal with this moron. So the police were granted a warrant, and a search of the O'Brien house offered up a pair of scissors with plastic residue attached, which is similar to that found on the cyanide lace sweets. O'Brien was arrested and taken in for questioning. As the investigation continued, the evidence started to stack up against Ronald. It turned out O'Brien was going to a community college and in class would ask his professor questions like, what is more lethal, cyanide or another type of poison?
See, now we have Google for that.
Correct. And now the police, they go check out witnesses, but they also, one of the first things they're going to do is check your search on your phone, right?
Because people are stupid.
People are just stupid. Yeah, and during class, we're going to ask which is more poisonous, cyanide or other poisons. I mean, way to go, Ronald. You're a smart guy. Another witness who worked for a chemical company in Houston told police a man had come in to buy some cyanide, but left after being told the smallest amount he could buy was 5 pounds. That's a lot.
Good gosh.
5 pounds of cyanide? I mean, you think about a 5-pound bag of sugar, and from what I gather, reading this, it doesn't take much cyanide. So how many people are you taking out?
The village.
The man from the store said he couldn't identify O'Brien, but he remembered that his customer was wearing a beige or blue smock like a doctor, says Hinton. O'Brien was an optician, and that was exactly the uniform he wore to work. Still, this was years before DNA testing and contactless debit cards, and the police couldn't put the pixie stick in Ronald's hands to prove that he had bought any cyanide. So the 30-year-old optician maintained his innocence. Because you're looking real innocent, Ronald.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, right now, you are looking super innocent. Ronald entered a not guilty plea, with his defense blaming the tainted candy on some untraceable boogeyman, a sick individual using the cover of Halloween to poison unsuspecting children.
What a sick person out
Right?
there.
Right. I mean, horrible.
I mean, he is correct,
I mean, he is correct, but he's speaking
but
about
it's
himself.
him.
Hmm. But friends, family, and coworkers all testified against the man the press was now calling the Candy Man. And on June 3rd, 1975, it took just 46 minutes for a jury to return a guilty verdict for one charge of capital murder and 4 counts of attempted murder. An hour later, it was decided that Ronald would be executed by electric chair,
Good.
which, in all honesty, they should have fed him a damn pixie stick
Oh,
and let him
yeah.
suffer. Because if you read what cyanide does to the
It's
body,
horrible.
it is horrible. It's a horrible death. Now, I'm not saying the electric chair is easy, but I believe an eye for an eye.
I
Give
do
him a
too.
damn pixie stick. His little boy, Timothy, suffered so bad.
He was a baby.
He was a baby.
And his baby, that's
Mhm.
harming children is a horrible, horrible thing. And it's hard to do these stories when it's about a kid. But when it's a person killing their own child,
Yeah. I don't understand it. Just children in general. They're so innocent.
oh, beautiful. Ugh. And at Halloween, they're just the happiest.
Oh, yeah. They're so excited
They're
to get
so
their
cute.
candy. And this man not only stole his son's life, but he stole joy from millions of kids. Millions of kids.
Because of him, I never got to go trick or treating.
Yeah, well, me too.
That bastard.
Just,
I mean, I go now, but it's not the same, guys.
it's not the same. And I can't eat candy now like I could have as a kid.
I know. I think I
Because
lived off candy as a kid. I
one
remember those days.
one Snicker bar and I gained 10 pounds, right?
Ugh.
So the
I don't think I
freedom.
can even eat a whole candy bar.
Oh, I can,
My God.
but I pay for it.
Now, Skittles, that's a whole different story. My kids pick out the
Oh,
Skittles from their
not
Halloween.
M&Ms? Not M&Ms?
I look good in this M&M shirt, but I don't like M&Ms.
I like me some M&Ms. Yep, I do. I like the peanut ones, but I'm starting to like the chocolate ones. So, yeah. But
My girls love them, and when we were in Vegas, we lived at the M&M store, but no,
they're not as healthy as I would like for them
they're
to
not
be.
as good as I want them to be.
I love them.
Sorry, guys, we just got
We're hungry. We need to eat.
It's
Continuing
Halloween. We need that candy.
Ronald Clark O'Brien's appeal avenues were explored and turned down for nearly a decade after his guilty verdict. So it wasn't until March 31st, 1984, when all routes to survival had been exhausted, that he was finally put to death for his crime. By this point, the U.S. Supreme Court had ruled the electric chair a cruel and unusual punishment. So his life was ended by lethal injection. Okay. All right, we're not going to do the electric chair. Give him a damn pixie stick. So much cheaper.
Well, that's true. And I'm sorry, I'm going to say this. If you take your child out in a horrible, no matter what way, but especially in this horrible way, then nothing is inhumane.
Well, lethal
But that's
injection.
my opinion.
Lethal injection, they put him to sleep and make him comfortable.
I know.
They know it's coming, but they make it comfortable. And let's be honest, little Timothy did not have any comfort in the last moments of
That's
his
what I'm
life.
saying.
And it just
It's not,
infuriates me.
if they're inhumane, what difference does it make? But
Right.
that's my opinion. Everyone's
Entitled to
entitled
theirs.
to their own.
But if you intentionally cause someone's death because of something this sick, especially your own child, why are we worried about the comfort of how they go? That was not even considered for Timothy.
No.
And so that's my biggest problem. On the night of O'Brien's death, outside the Texas State Penitentiary in Huntsville, a crowd of around 300 people gathered to hear if the man that killed Halloween had met his end, shouting trick or treat and throwing candy at anti-death penalty protesters. At 12:48 a.m., Ronald was pronounced dead. So we haven't spoken a lot about Ronald's wife, but she did do some interviews, and her name was Dayneen. So Dayneen, when he was executed, they were divorced, and they had been divorced for a while, but she did give an interview, and she said that she believed her former husband was guilty and his death would give her a brand new beginning. And I'm sure it was like an ending to the torture that she had been living all these years. And I'm sure she had to hear it on the news every Halloween. Not only was she grieving her son's death, but she would probably hear it on the news because the media likes to bring that stuff up over and over. And knowing that he's just sitting in the prison while she's living in her own prison in hell that he put her through, I'm sure knowing that he was gone probably brought her some sort of peace. And she said, I'm glad it's coming to an end. And she was 39 at the time that they did this interview. She said, I don't think Ronald is a sick or insane person, but he is perverted. It's the end of a nightmare and the beginning of a brand new beginning, said the former O'Brien, who was remarried and asked that her name not be disclosed. The slate will be wiped clean and we will get on with our lives. Daneen said, however, she holds no ill will against her ex-husband. I don't hate Ronald. I just feel nothing. She stated that she remarried and continued on with her life, although she has felt a void following the death of her son Timothy on Halloween night, 1974. Authorities said the father had hoped to collect insurance money. And again, that just pisses me off. Get a second job. I don't know, sell your car, get a cheaper car.
You're going to take someone out, take yourself out, let them have it.
And G says she doesn't hold any ill will towards him, and she's a better person than I am because
Yep.
I would, until my dying breath, I would hold that against him.
Yeah.
For taking my child. Because let's be honest, at this point, it wasn't Ronald's child. Timothy was Daneen's child. He didn't even love him enough to take care of him. You know, he poisoned him, he killed him for money. So I don't even think that Ronald should even be granted the title father at this point ever again. And when you look up this story, you see pictures of Timothy with Ronald next to each other. I just don't think that's appropriate. I don't even think little Timothy's face should be plastered next to his dad ever, out of respect for his little life that he had. And that just ticks me off. But Daneen said she was nervous, but hoped she and her 15-year-old daughter Elizabeth would put behind the whole ordeal. And remember, Timothy had a sister. So not only was Daneen suffering the grief and loss of her son, but also the sister, Elizabeth, is suffering the loss of many people. Her brother, her childhood, her mother, her father.
But wasn't she trick-or-treating also?
Yes,
So
she was.
Probably feels
She's got survival
guilt because she didn't eat the pixie stick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Because he handed them out.
To
He
all
had
of
several.
them.
Yeah. The
Oh,
man.
and then he was going to take out not only his children, but their children.
Well, I mean, he could only get 5 pounds of cyanide. And again, how many people was he planning on taking out? I mean, his wife could have been on that list.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many people. I mean, 5 pounds of cyanide, that's a lot. So he could have gone down as the world's largest killer, you know, being the biggest serial killer there is if he had kept going, if they had not taken him off the streets.
That's sick.
So, and let's be honest, guys, he wasn't just doing it for the money, because if the other people or the other children would have passed, he wouldn't have got anything out of that but satisfaction.
Exactly.
So they can use the money thing all they want, but there was more to it. I don't care how much debt he was in. He wasn't going to get paid for the other deaths. This man was sick.
Well, and he could say, well, I didn't know which pixie stick they were going to get. Yes, he would have. He stapled them. He would have known which was which. He was just going to take them all out.
Yeah, he was going to take them all out. And I guess he thought he was smart enough to get away with it. But I'm glad that he didn't. I'm glad that the police did their due diligence in bringing justice to little Timothy, and that he was the only one that we're aware of that was ever harmed by him. Now, I don't know about previous Halloweens. Again, there was never any stories of anyone else getting poisoned. So I'm so glad this was his demise. And unfortunately, Timothy lost his life, but that no one else did. And that's hard to say, but it could have been way worse.
He was a beautiful little
He
boy.
was so cute.
And he was just
Yeah. Well,
excited.
he was excited about Halloween, and his dad just, took him out with a pixie stick. It's horrible. So with Danine, she says, my concern during these years has not been for myself. She says, they have been with my daughter. She has done remarkably well and continues to do so. So, yeah, Dardine actually is concerned about her daughter. And I'm sure as a mother, you have to keep living for the other child or children. But she did worry about her daughter because, again, her daughter was losing her whole family, not just her brother, but she lost the mother that was prior to Timothy's death and her father. And I'm sure her whole life was just completely uprooted at that point. And everything's on the news. So she probably was sheltered from TV. And back then it wasn't like you could pull up YouTube. Well, now YouTube has all of these stories on them too. But the news would break in or you had news going on. So you didn't have a whole lot of channels to flick at. And in 74, there was no VCRs. If there was, I didn't know about it. So I'm sure she was completely sheltered from her childhood. So Dardine says about 6 months before her father was to be executed, Elizabeth wanted to contact and visit O'Bryan on death row, but she adamantly prohibited her daughter from making any contact with her father. And I don't blame her. I don't blame her for trying to keep her daughter from seeing her father.
I don't blame her, but at the same time, I understand why the daughter would want to see her father.
Well, of course.
She might have needed that for closure.
And curiosity.
But
I'm sure her mom didn't want him to manipulate her.
I understand that. I understand it from both angles.
So Dardine continues to say she has no ties to him. I think she has struggled through that, but she accepts the fact that he intended to kill her too, she said.
That's probably why she wanted to see him.
She probably had questions, and he wasn't going to answer them.
No, but I would want to do that.
Yeah. We refer to him in this house as Ronald, and he is her biological father only and nothing more, she said. She said before the trial in 1974, she would visit her husband each week at the Harris County Jail, and each week he would cry and tell her of his innocence. He was so convincing. Sometimes I thought, what if he is telling the truth? But I knew he was lying, she said. She said before her son's death, her husband made an appointment for her with an insurance agency to buy a life insurance policy for her. I think I was the original intended victim, she said. The appointment was canceled because the couple did not have the money to pay the policy premiums. There were early...
Sorry, that is what I was going to ask you earlier was, did she have a life insurance policy on her?
Yeah, he took one out. And
of course.
Probably... I mean, who knows? Maybe he was going to give her some cyanide. We're pretty sure of that too, and just take out the whole family.
That much,
yeah, he was just going to take the whole family out, familicide, just take them all out.
How much did he need?
I don't know.
If 5 pounds isn't enough, what are you going for?
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
He's a weirdo. But that's why I think that his intent wasn't just for his family, but for others too. I mean, it makes no sense for 5 pounds not to be enough.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't take very much. There were early signs in our marriage that he was a liar, Dardine says. He only admitted to me once that he lied, but never about Timothy's death, she said. But I know in my deepest heart of hearts that he is responsible for my son's death. She remembered once before Timothy's death, O'Bryan quoted the Bible story about how Abraham must have felt about losing and sacrificing his own son. I just started putting all those things together. He was my husband and I wanted to believe him, she said. But knowing him and living with him for almost 10 years, I knew it was possible. She divorced O'Bryan and remarried in 1980. She never cashed the $31,000 life insurance policy, calling it blood money. And good for her.
Yeah.
I'm sure she felt it was blood money considering Ronald's the one who took it out and then Timothy passed. I'm sure she wanted nothing to do with it. So, we'll just reiterate. Ronald Clark O'Brien met his demise at an execution in Huntsville Prison, March 31st, 1984. Good riddance to you, sir. You ruined Halloween. People still talk about you, and you took Timothy's life. And you ruined multiple of other people's lives, too. So just what a sick individual. That's all I can say about him. And he got what he deserved.
He did.
And you know what? The state of Texas, they didn't give him 20 years. Usually when they're granted the death penalty, it's 15, 20 years before they're put to execution. But they did it 10 years later. So actually 9.5 years, because he did what he did October 31st, 1974, and he was put to death March 31st, 1984. So it was actually 9.5 years. And I think that was a good call, Texas, because that man needed to be gone, and we didn't need him being housed and being fed after what he did to little Timothy.
Yeah.
So justice was served. So, yeah, guys, what do you think about this? Do you remember it? If you are old like we are, do you remember when this happened, or do you remember it being talked about? Because again, it wasn't just in Texas. It happened. Everybody knew about it, and it caused chaos for Halloween.
Wasn't that where it started, that you check your children's candy for?
Yeah, if the package was open, unsealed, if it looked like there were needle marks in it, there was all kinds of things.
I just had a new friend of mine say, I don't let my son go trick-or-treating because I'm that mom that checks every piece of candy. And I thought, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, you have to.
Here we go.
Because it would be really, if you think about it, if you go to multiple homes and you got this bag full of candy, it would be hard to find out who put what house or what person put candy in what bag.
Oh, and there's so many. We only go a couple of blocks because by the time we get home, they have a huge bag of candy.
Right. So guys, be careful out there. This is just a reminder. Nothing has really changed in our society. And so we still need to be cautious, especially with our little ones during Halloween. They're vulnerable. They're excited. We don't want to take that excitement and happiness away from them. So guys, what do you think? Just leave us some comments. Let us know if it affected you during Halloween, and we'd like to hear from you. But I think justice was served for little Timothy, and we wish the best for Dardine and Elizabeth and her new family, and we pray that they've found some peace. So,
yes.
Yeah. So with that being said, until our next episode, remember to see
the good and stay imperfectly perfect. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.